Welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about what's really going on here. Candida albicans is a type of yeast, a tiny, single-celled fungus that lives naturally in your digestive tract, your mouth, and on your skin. In small amounts, it's completely harmless. Your immune system and the trillions of good bacteria in your gut keep it in check, like bouncers at a nightclub making sure nobody gets out of line. But things change as we get older, and they change in ways that tip the balance directly in Candida's favor. After 60, your immune system doesn't respond as quickly or as aggressively as it used to. Doctors call this immunosenescence. Fancy word, simple meaning. Your defenses slow down. On top of that, many seniors take medications that accidentally feed Candida or wipe out the good bacteria that were keeping it controlled. Antibiotics are a big one. Acid reflux medications, the proton pump inhibitors millions of Americans take daily, those change the pH of your stomach and gut, creating a warmer welcome for yeast. Corticosteroids, inhaled or oral, suppress local immune defenses. Even dentures, which over 33 million Americans wear, create a moist, warm pocket where Candida absolutely thrives. So, if you've been dealing with recurring yeast issues, oral thrush, skin rashes in your creases, digestive misery, vaginal infections that keep circling back, or that persistent brain fog that makes you feel like you're thinking through wet cotton, it's not your fault. Your body's environment shifted and Candida took advantage. The good news? You can shift it right back, and you can start today. Let's get into the 24-hour reset. Think of this as your emergency protocol. It's not a cure-all. We'll get to the long-term strategy later. But this is how you slam the brakes on an active flare and start feeling relief before tomorrow morning. Hour 1 through 4. Starve it. Candida eats sugar. Not metaphorically, literally. Yeast ferments sugar. That's what it does for a living. Every piece of bread, every spoonful of honey, every glass of orange juice you consume is a buffet for this organism. So the very first thing you do, starting right now, is cut off the food supply. For the next 24 hours, eliminate all added sugars. That means no candy, no cookies, no sweetened yogurt, no fruit juice, no soda, not even diet soda, because artificial sweeteners can disrupt your gut bacteria in ways that still benefit Candida. Skip the white bread, the pasta, the crackers. These refined carbohydrates break down into simple sugars almost immediately once they hit your digestive tract, and Candida doesn't know the difference between a teaspoon of table sugar and a dinner roll. It's all glucose to that organism. What do you eat instead? Eggs scrambled in butter or olive oil. A piece of grilled chicken or baked fish with steamed broccoli and a drizzle of lemon. Leafy greens, spinach, arugula, kale, dressed with olive oil and apple cider vinegar. Avocado sliced over a bed of cucumbers. A handful of raw almonds or walnuts. These foods give your body fuel without giving Candida a single thing to work with. Now, I know what you might be thinking. One day without sugar isn't going to kill a fungal infection. And you're right, it won't eradicate the overgrowth completely. But here's what the research shows. Candida responds rapidly to its environment. Within hours of losing its primary fuel source, the organism slows its reproduction rate and begins to weaken its biofilm. That slimy protective shield it builds around itself inside your gut lining. You're not killing it yet. You're weakening its armor. That matters enormously for what comes next. Hour 4 through 8. Hit it with natural antifungals. This is where your kitchen becomes your pharmacy. First up, raw garlic. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is released when you crush or chop a fresh clove. Allicin has been studied extensively, and published research in the Journal of Applied Microbiology demonstrated that it disrupts Candida's cell membrane, essentially punching holes in the organism's outer wall. Take 2 fresh cloves, crush them with the flat of a knife, let them sit for 10 minutes to activate the allicin, then swallow the pieces with water like you'd swallow a pill. Do this twice, once around the 4-hour mark, once around the 8-hour mark. Yes, your breath will smell, nobody cares. This works. Second, virgin coconut oil. Coconut oil contains 3 medium-chain fatty acids, caprylic acid, capric acid, and lauric acid. All three have demonstrated antifungal properties against Candida albicans in laboratory studies published in the Journal of Medicinal Food. Take 1 to 2 tablespoons of unrefined cold-pressed coconut oil. You can eat it straight off the spoon, stir it into warm water, or cook your eggs in it. The caprylic acid penetrates Candida's cell wall the same way allicin does, but through a different mechanism, which means you're hitting the yeast from 2 angles simultaneously. Third, and this one surprises people, apple cider vinegar. Raw, unfiltered, with the cloudy sediment at the bottom, which is called the mother. That sediment contains beneficial bacteria and enzymes. Mix 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar into an 8-ounce glass of lukewarm water and drink it before meals. Apple cider vinegar creates an acidic environment in the upper digestive tract that Candida doesn't tolerate well. It also stimulates stomach acid production, which is often low in seniors, and that improved acidity further discourages yeast from colonizing the upper gut. If you're dealing with oral thrush specifically, those white patches on your tongue, inner cheeks, or the roof of your mouth, you can also use coconut oil as a mouth rinse. This is called oil pulling. Put a tablespoon of coconut oil in your mouth, swish it gently for 10 to 15 minutes, don't gargle, don't swallow, then spit it into the trash. Not the sink, it'll clog your pipes. The oil binds to the Candida organisms on your oral mucosa and pulls them away from the tissue. Do this once during your 24-hour reset, and you should notice visible reduction in the white coating by the following morning. Hour 8 through 16. Flood your gut with reinforcements. Now that you've starved the Candida and hit it with natural antifungals, it's time to bring in the good guys. Probiotics. Specifically, you want strains of Lactobacillus acidophilus and Lactobacillus rhamnosus. These beneficial bacteria compete directly with Candida for space and resources along your intestinal lining. They also produce lactic acid and hydrogen peroxide as byproducts of their metabolism, and both of those substances are toxic to yeast. If you have a high-quality probiotic supplement at home, one that contains at least 10 billion colony-forming units and is refrigerated, take a double dose, 1 capsule in the afternoon, 1 before bed. If you don't have a supplement handy, eat plain unsweetened yogurt with live active cultures. Not the flavored kind. That's loaded with sugar, which defeats the entire purpose. Plain, full-fat Greek yogurt, a full cup, eaten slowly. You can also drink bone broth during this window. Warm chicken bone broth or beef bone broth contains the amino acid glutamine, which supports the integrity of your intestinal lining. When Candida overgrows, it can shift from its yeast form into a fungal form with thread-like filaments called hyphae that literally burrow into the gut wall, creating tiny perforations. This is what people mean when they talk about leaky gut. Glutamine helps repair those perforations, rebuilding the barrier that keeps Candida and its toxic byproducts from leaking into your bloodstream. Sip a mug of warm bone broth in the evening. Add a pinch of turmeric and a crack of black pepper. Turmeric contains curcumin, another well-documented antifungal, and the black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Hour 16 through 24. Rest and let your body do its work. Sleep. This isn't optional and it's not filler advice. During deep sleep, your body produces elevated levels of cytokines, immune signaling molecules that coordinate the attack on pathogens, including Candida. Sleep deprivation measurably suppresses immune function within a single night. A study from the University of Chicago found that men who slept only 4 hours showed a 70% reduction in natural killer cell activity the following day. Those natural killer cells are part of your frontline defense against fungal organisms. So go to bed at a reasonable hour, keep the room cool, around 65 to 68 degrees. Avoid screens for an hour before sleep, and if you tend to wake up in the night, drink a cup of chamomile tea with a drop of raw honey before lying down. The chamomile contains apigenin, which binds to receptors in your brain that promote drowsiness, and the trace amount of honey won't be enough to feed Candida, but will prevent the blood sugar crash that wakes many seniors at 3 in the morning. By the time you open your eyes the next day, you should feel noticeably different, less bloated, clearer thinking. If you had oral thrush, the white patches should appear thinner. If you had skin irritation, the redness and itching should have decreased. This is your starting point. Now we build on it. Before we go further, if you're over 60, or if you're caring for an elderly parent or loved one, the information in this video could genuinely change how they feel every single day. Candida overgrowth is one of the most underdiagnosed conditions in older adults, and most people suffer with it silently for years because they don't realize what's causing their symptoms. Share this video with someone who needs it. You might be the reason they finally get relief, and if you haven't subscribed yet, tap that button now. We put out new senior health content regularly, and the next video might be the one that answers the question you've been carrying around for months. The 24-hour reset gets you out of crisis mode, but Candida is persistent. It adapts. It builds biofilms. And if you go back to the same habits that triggered the overgrowth, it will come roaring back within days. So here's how you keep it gone permanently. Step 1. Adopt an anti-Candida eating pattern. You don't need to starve yourself forever, but you do need to permanently reduce the amount of sugar and refined carbohydrates in your daily diet. This isn't a diet in the miserable, restrictive sense. It's a shift. Build your meals around protein, healthy fats, and above-ground vegetables. Wild-caught salmon with roasted zucchini and a drizzle of olive oil. A 2-egg omelet with sautéed spinach, mushrooms, and a side of sliced avocado. Grilled chicken thighs with a big green salad, romaine, cucumber, red onions, sunflower seeds, tossed with olive oil and lemon juice. Certain foods are actively hostile to Candida, and you should make them regulars in your rotation. Garlic, use it liberally in cooking. Onions, which contain similar sulfur compounds. Ginger root, which published studies show inhibits Candida biofilm formation. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, which contains sulfur and support liver detoxification, helping your body process and eliminate the toxic byproducts Candida releases when it dies. Fermented vegetables deserve special mention. Sauerkraut, the real kind, from the refrigerated section, not the shelf-stable stuff in a can, is loaded with lactobacillus bacteria. A forkful with lunch or dinner delivers probiotics directly to your gut in a form your body absorbs easily. Kimchi works the same way if you enjoy the spice. Foods to minimize permanently: white bread, white rice, pasta, pastries, candy, soda, fruit juice, dried fruit, and alcohol. Alcohol is a double hit. It contains sugar and it damages your gut lining simultaneously. Beer is the worst offender because it's literally made from yeast and fermented grain. If you enjoy an occasional drink, a small glass of dry red wine is your least harmful option. It contains polyphenols that may actually inhibit Candida, but keep it to 1 glass and not every night. Step 2. Protect your good bacteria like their family. Your gut microbiome is your single greatest defense against Candida. Without a strong population of beneficial bacteria, yeast will always find a way to overgrow. So protect those bacteria fiercely. If your doctor prescribes antibiotics, ask whether they're truly necessary. Sometimes they are: urinary tract infections, pneumonia, certain wound infections, and you should absolutely take them when needed. But ask the question. And whenever you do take a course of antibiotics, start a probiotic supplement at the same time, taken at least 2 hours apart from the antibiotic dose. Continue the probiotic for at least 2 weeks after finishing the antibiotic course. This single habit prevents more Candida flares than almost anything else. Avoid antimicrobial mouthwashes unless specifically directed by your dentist. Those rinses kill bacteria indiscriminately, wiping out the oral lactobacillus species that keep Candida from colonizing your mouth and throat. If you wear dentures, remove them every night without exception. Soak them in a denture cleaning solution. Brush them with a soft brush before reinserting in the morning. Candida forms stubborn biofilms on denture acrylic, and wearing them continuously, especially while sleeping, is one of the leading causes of recurrent oral thrush in adults over 65. Step 3. Manage moisture and skin hygiene. Candida loves moisture. It loves warmth. It loves dark, enclosed spaces where air doesn't circulate. That's why skin candidiasis shows up under breasts, in the groin folds, between the buttocks, under the belly fold, and between toes. Keep these areas dry. After bathing, pat them thoroughly with a clean towel. Don't rub pat. If you're prone to moisture accumulation, apply a light dusting of unscented body powder. Cornstarch-based powder is fine. Wear breathable cotton undergarments. Avoid synthetic fabrics that trap heat and sweat against your skin. Change out of damp clothing promptly. If you exercise, even a walk that makes you perspire, change your underclothes afterward. This sounds basic, and it is. But the number of recurrent Candida skin infections that resolve simply by managing moisture is staggering. Dermatologists see it constantly. Step 4. Address blood sugar seriously. Here's something many seniors don't connect. Type 2 diabetes and prediabetes are among the single strongest risk factors for chronic Candida overgrowth. When your blood sugar runs high, you have elevated glucose circulating not only in your blood, but in your saliva, your vaginal secretions, your skin surface moisture, and your urine. Every one of those fluids becomes a feeding trough for yeast. Over 40% of Americans over 65 have prediabetes, and many don't know it. If you haven't had your fasting glucose and hemoglobin A1C checked recently, ask your doctor at your next visit. Getting blood sugar under control, through dietary changes, exercise, medication if needed, often resolves chronic candida that nothing else seemed to touch. The yeast was never the root problem. The sugar was the root problem and the yeast was the symptom. Step 5. Move your body. Every day. Moderate exercise boosts immune surveillance. A 30-minute walk enhances the circulation of immune cells through your body for up to 3 hours afterward. Those cells, the neutrophils, the macrophages, the natural killer cells, are the soldiers that identify and destroy Candida before it can establish a foothold. You don't need to run a marathon. Walk around your neighborhood, do chair exercises in your living room, tend your garden, swim laps at the community pool. Move in whatever way feels comfortable and sustainable. The consistency matters more than the intensity. Exercise also improves insulin sensitivity, which ties back to blood sugar control. And it promotes healthy bowel motility, which physically moves Candida organisms out of your intestinal tract before they can overgrow. Everything connects. Step 6. Reduce chronic stress. Cortisol, the stress hormone, suppresses your immune system when it stays elevated for long periods. Chronic worry about finances, health, isolation, or family conflict keeps cortisol running high day after day, and your immune system gradually steps down its activity in response. Many seniors carry enormous stress quietly. You might be caring for a spouse with dementia, dealing with chronic pain that nobody seems to take seriously, grieving friends who passed, living alone after decades of partnership. These are heavy burdens, and they have measurable biological effects. Find what lowers your cortisol. For some people, it's prayer. For others, it's a phone call with a grandchild, 15 minutes of slow breathing on the porch, a jigsaw puzzle, or digging in a flower bed with bare hands in the cool morning soil. The mechanism doesn't matter. The relief matters. Everything we've discussed today is safe, natural, and backed by published research. But I'd be irresponsible if I didn't tell you when to see a doctor. Seek medical attention if you develop a fever along with your Candida symptoms. Fever suggests the infection may have entered your bloodstream, a condition called candidemia, which is a medical emergency requiring antifungal medication administered intravenously. This is rare but serious, particularly in people with weakened immune systems, recent hospitalizations, or central venous catheters. See your doctor if oral thrush doesn't improve within 7 to 10 days of natural treatment, because persistent oral candidiasis can sometimes indicate an underlying immune deficiency that needs investigation. See your doctor if you're experiencing recurrent vaginal yeast infections, 4 or more per year, because this pattern sometimes signals undiagnosed diabetes, thyroid dysfunction, or medication interactions that need professional evaluation. And see your doctor if you notice Candida symptoms developing shortly after starting a new medication. Certain drugs, inhaled corticosteroids for asthma or COPD, immunosuppressants for autoimmune conditions, hormonal therapies, can trigger Candida overgrowth as a side effect. Your doctor may be able to adjust the dose, switch medications, or prescribe a preventive antifungal rinse or supplement to use alongside the necessary treatment. Natural approaches are powerful. They should be your foundation, but they work best when combined with medical oversight for complex situations. Let's bring this all together. Candida overgrowth is incredibly common in adults over 60. The immune changes that come with aging, the medications many of us take, the blood sugar fluctuations, the dentures, the reduced stomach acid, all of it creates the perfect storm for yeast to take over. But you are not powerless against it. In the next 24 hours, you can starve it by eliminating sugar and refined carbohydrates. You can attack it with raw garlic, coconut oil, and apple cider vinegar. You can reinforce your gut with probiotics and bone broth. And you can support your immune system with quality sleep. Beyond that first day, you keep Candida gone by maintaining a low-sugar eating pattern, protecting your beneficial bacteria, managing moisture on your skin, controlling blood sugar, moving your body daily, and reducing the chronic stress that wears your immune system thin. This isn't complicated. None of these steps require expensive supplements or exotic ingredients. Garlic costs pennies. Coconut oil lasts for months. A walk around the block is free. What it requires is the decision to take your health into your own hands, to stop accepting the bloating, the brain fog, the itching, and the fatigue as just part of getting older. Those symptoms are messages. Your body is telling you something is out of balance. Now you know what it is, and you know what to do about it. You deserve to feel clear-headed. You deserve to eat a meal without your stomach swelling like a balloon. You deserve to sleep through the night without waking up scratching. You've earned better than this, and better is available to you starting today. If this video helped you, hit the subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a new upload. We cover the health topics that matter most to adults over 60, the ones that mainstream medicine often overlooks or dismisses. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you dealt with Candida? What symptoms bothered you the most? I read every comment, and your experiences help me create content that serves you better. Share this video with a friend, a sibling, a spouse, or an adult child who worries about your health. Knowledge like this should never stay hidden. Take care of yourself. You matter more than you know.